Hi everybody, it's Colin here from Woodthorp International. An update on what I've been up to and a running of American trains with a visitor from Europe. And just to show you what would happen if a European train was just being sent from Europe into this shed and into America and it going back again. Anyway, let's see what we've been up to. The first thing I've been up to is I've stuck on from about, I think it was about here, all the way around to over there, and I've actually completed this area from about here, going up and completed that. So that's one thing I've done. And then over here I have stuck the programming track down and it's all wired up. So that's there. This is the European train what's going to visit. This is the line it would come in from here. It'd come off this point onto this line and then return back through this line, back through the wall to its own country. And I'll show you this working. So that's basically all I've done in the layout. I've tidied more wiring up. I have stuck this track down from there, put the next two pieces on, wired it up, and also around here from there I've actually put in this piece of track, and that from the joint what was over there. Now that is the end of a block, so that is why it's separate, ready for going off through to the fiddle yard, as I explained last week. I've put this point motor here. That's in. The board what was hanging down here is all finished and up underneath. If I can show you. There, that's all up and out of the way. So that's what I've been up to this week on the layout. And mainly sticking hundreds of rocks on. If you remember the big pile I had there, that is now substantially reduced. So I thought I'll just do a bit of that. I went to Spalding Model Railway Exhibition on Sunday. I saw the guy who made the windmill, and I just said to him, I says, how noisy should the motor be? And he says, listen to this one. And I said, I can't hear it. He said, that's how quiet it's meant to be. I said, oh, mine's noisy. And he was very good. He just straight away, right, yeah, there's another motor. Swap it over. I said, do you want this motor back? He said, nah. He says, don't bother. If it's noisy, it's noisy. I don't want it either. And if you can use it for something else, then fair enough. But no problem. So I've got the motor to swap that. And something else I did get, just hold on a minute. I got this, and this is a scale ruler for measuring for scratch building and stuff. Now I know I could work it out and stuff like that on a normal ruler, because it's every 2 millimeters, it's a foot. But for cutting and stuff, it's always handy to go from a mark and stuff like that. So I thought I would get that. And they're doing for other scales. But I thought that will be quite handy for all the scratch building I've got to do. So that was the other thing I picked up. Great show. Nice models, you know, a lot of some layouts I've seen, some new ones, but they were all very good quality, and the exhibition itself ran perfectly. The organisation behind it was spot on and quite easy to get to. Okay, it was a good 2.5 hour drive there and a 2.5 hour drive back, but you know, it's just, you've got to do this if you want to go places. So let's see a bit of running. Right, so what we have is 2 trains going round America. The first one is the orange one nearest to us, and then over here there is a CSX train going on the down line. So the orange is on the up line, and then coming out from under the mountain over there, which you won't be able to see because there'll be the tunnel mouth and stuff, but that's the shuttle train. And everything is on automatic. The only thing it's on automatic for running is the European train, but I just have to drag the train over, which I'll just show you how you do it on the computer for moving trains about. What you just want to go from A to B, basically. So I'll press play and things will start to move. Points will change. This shuttle train is going. The other 2 are going. And you'll see the orange train just there going off. So we'll follow the shuttle train into the station. And any stops are just a choice of iTrain. I've just given it a range to work in. So that stops there. The CSX train you'll see just going round here, and then you'll see the orange train coming round Reflection Cove there, and that will stop. There is a wait area here for both directions. If I choose to use it, I can just tell them to drive through, but I've got it just to stop. But there it is there. It'll stop. So what I'll do now, I'll get the European train to set off from the place from where you saw it before the actual running session. It is going. Now it won't change any points yet. Now I don't know if the shuttle train is going to start first and the European train will have to wait. Now it's booked them, so the shuttle train will have to wait, and it only has 6 seconds left before it would go. So once it's been given permission to go, it'll have to wait, because in theory the actual and there's the shuttle train. This is how it gets into America. Or American trains, if they've gone to visit anywhere, would come back and come up that line. That's one of the places anyway. could come up the helix, if it's say coming from Japan. But once that clears the points have changed, the shuttle train will now set off because it's clear. And the train at the front here, round Reflection Cove, the CSX, is just on its pause. So that will go back under the tunnel. The CSX is starting to move. The European train is coming towards the CSX. Well, it's a bit behind. And as you can see, the shuttle train is going back and it will stop and wait. Again, it's on a wait time under there, a bit longer under the mountain than it is at the station. And you'll see the CSX. The points have changed for that to go. The European train just had to wait for the CSX to move on, which it is doing. And then you'll see down at the bottom of the screen at the left, on the nearest line to us, the European train. And that will go back off. The orange train is allowed to go because its time's up for waiting. And the European train is going back to its area. And if I take us off the tripod, you have to excuse the bouncing around. There is the European train going back, let's excuse the rubbish, and that's how it leaves America, or how an American train leaves to go to Europe, to have a run round Europe. And it will just stop in this area. And that will wait for permission to go off or whatever. I might have just sent it to there. But the dragging and dropping bit is you just drag this white information of this red train and drag it to wherever you want, which might be back to that line. Let go, and you can either give it a route or shunt. Now it would be a shunt because it has to go backwards, as you can see, because there's no driver at the other end. But I'll just stop it there because I don't want it to go. And that's how you drag and drop a train at any point, anywhere on the layout. You just drag it and it'll do its best to get there somehow. So I hope that was fun watching. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll speak to you in the next video. Bye for now. Bye.